So, as you may have gathered, when I'm covering a case like Jack and Lily's case, I tend to focus almost exclusively on that case and not look at other cases. I know I've got a few balls up in the air at the moment. I have the Phoebe Bishop case, and we have some more court dates coming up for that in November. I have Leo Escalante, the little 2-year-old boy who was made not alive by the boyfriend of his mother. The next court date for that is 29th of October. And there's a handful of other cases as well that I touch on. Well, I cover when there's updates. I will admit, when it comes to the Brock family case with the TikTok girl, Sarah Grace Patrick, I basically decided I'm not going to cover much more of that case until it goes to trial, simply because what is going on in the background with that case is beyond a circus, and I'm not playing into that drama. So I'm not going to cover it, not until it goes to trial. It is sad because that is essentially, I guess it's almost playing into that girl's fan club's needs, because they don't want people looking at her and seeing what she has potentially done. But at the same time, I just don't want to be doing a case that's got that much drama in the background. But having said all that, this morning when I woke up, I had a bit of time before I needed to get up, so I tuned into Clutch Them Pearls, and Justin was covering a new case, and it just caught my attention straight away because there's so much wrong here. So this is the case of Melodee Buzzard. Now, Melodee is actually 9, but this is the most recent photo that they seem to have been able to get, which already is a red flag for me because this photo's got to be a few years old. She looks like she would have to be 6 or 7 in this photo. And in fact, law enforcement have said this photo is a few years old. So she's from Santa Barbara County in California, in a place called Vandenburg Village. She was living with her mother, Ashley Buzzard. As for her father and his side of the family, he died in a motorcycle accident when Melodee was 6 months old, and his family haven't seen Melodee in 2.5 years. So they had no idea even that she was missing. They have said that her mother has had issues with mental health, which is a concern for me. So Melodee wasn't actually reported missing by family, not by her mother, not by any other family members. She was actually reported missing by a member of the school board in that particular county. She had been previously doing homeschooling, and her mother had re-enrolled her in a particular school, and I think that comes up in one of the videos I'm going to show you. Her mother had re-enrolled her for school in September. And then that was it, no more contact. So there were no assignments put in, there was no contact made with her teacher, because in California when a child is being homeschooled, they still have to have the regular contact with a teacher, a qualified teacher, and of course there's still work to be submitted, all that sort of stuff. The school went through all the usual protocols, all the legal protocols following up on her absence, but it only escalated on the 7th of October when basically they had gone through all the other processes. It became apparent that the child was not at the home. So the school on the 7th of October reported her missing. To me, this case has echoes of the Madalena Kojikari case, which I've mentioned before and I would really like to cover. I think it comes down to having the time to really put my research together into something that, as a video, is going to come out intelligent as opposed to all jumbled up, because there is so much to that case that's mind-blowing. But the similarities here are a little bit alarming. Madalena was, I think, 11 a few years ago, and this was in South Carolina, I think. Now, in her case, again, it was the school that reported her missing because she had been absent for quite some time. I think from memory, it had been a bit over a month. The school finally escalated things to the point where they told her mother, Diana Kojakari, you need to produce Madeline at school. And she didn't produce Madeline at the school. So they contacted authorities, and it turns out that Madalena had been missing for 6 weeks. And there were different stories from the mother and her partner, and no real answers as to where Madalena was. The mother just claimed that she had only last seen her the day after Madalena was last at school. Both parents tried to blame each other. Both parents did time for not reporting a missing child, and I'm wondering if that will apply in terms of California laws as well for Melodee's mother. Madalena's mother, after doing time for not reporting Madalena missing, was named as a person of interest, so she left the country. There's a lot more to Madalena's case, but again, seems to be a similar situation where Madalena may have been spirited away somewhere by her mother, taken somewhere by her mother, and now authorities cannot locate her, and we are 2 years on, possibly 3, I would have to double check. I hope this is not going to be the case with Melodee, because one of the bits of information that has come out, and you'll see this I'm about to go through the media releases from the Sheriff's Office, but it appears that potentially the last time that Melodee was seen may have been in a rented vehicle with her mother, travelling across country, and they believe that she may have in fact travelled from California to Nebraska in this rented vehicle with Melodee. As you may have gathered, the mother is not cooperating with authorities. So at the moment they're just scrambling to get a handle on what the heck is happening with this case. So I'm going to read through 2 media releases from the Santa Barbara County's Sheriff's Office, and then I have 2 news videos also that I'm going to play. From that, I may read an additional article after that, if I need to clarify a few things. I think some of the information in these news articles or in these news videos are already just a little out of date or incorrect, I believe. I've been busy today, so I need to rewatch these to see where things are at with them. So anyway, let's start with the news release from the Sheriff's Office. Okay, detectives share updated timeline in ongoing search for 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard. So this is directly from the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. Through their investigation, detectives have gathered evidence indicating that Melodee was with her mother, Ashley Buzzard, as recently as October 7th, 2025. Detectives have also determined that Ashley may have driven with Melodee in a white Chevrolet Malibu, licence 9MNG101, to locations outside of Santa Barbara County, to include as far as the state of Nebraska. The vehicle was determined to be a rental car, no longer in Ashley's possession. At this point in the investigation, Ashley Buzzard remains uncooperative and has not provided detectives with any information about Melodee's current location or condition. The primary goal of this investigation is to verify the location and welfare of Melodee Buzzard and ensure that she is safe. Sheriff's detectives continue to pursue all available leads. This public outreach effort is one part of those ongoing efforts to develop information that could assist investigators. Detectives are aware of the strong community interest in Melodee's case and are asking the public not to attempt to conduct their own searches or investigations. And you will see in a minute that there is kind of shades of that whole Gabby Petito thing with people basically outside the mother's house. While well-intentioned, these efforts could unintentionally interfere with the investigative work already in progress. And I should also mention here that if, as we've heard from the father's family, the mother struggles with mental health issues, we don't want people pushing her to a point where she's unable to cooperate with detectives. Because at this point in time, she potentially is the only person who knows where little Melodee is and what condition Melodee is in. Detectives have already conducted a thorough search of the family's residence and continue to follow verified leads in a coordinated manner. Now, just backtracking a little bit while they're talking about the investigation and following leads. In terms of the rental vehicle, on one hand, on the plus side, that's going to be a vehicle that's going to be like less than 2 years old. So in terms of actually accessing forensic data from that vehicle, then there could be quite a lot of forensic data. And if you have a look at, there's a video that I did a few weeks back where I spoke about the sort of forensic data that they could get from Malaya Brooks Murray, the mother of Lily and Jack, from her vehicle. And her vehicle is a 2017 model vehicle, meaning that it wouldn't have nearly as much in terms of computerised stuff as rental car. The only catch is, as I mentioned in the video when I did it about Malaya's vehicle, the amount of data that is recorded on a vehicle's computer is phenomenal. And if this is a rental car and they've basically come into this a fortnight behind the 8 ball, then if that car has been used every day for that fortnight before they were finally able to access its computer, it's quite possible that the data from the time when she was renting it may have already been written over, which is concerning because they would have been able to pinpoint, if it hasn't been written over, they would be able to pinpoint GPS with that vehicle down to a precise location. But like I said, being a rental vehicle, after pretty much a 2-week period, it is quite possible that any data has been written over, particularly when you consider the distance from California to Nebraska. That's a lot of extra data coming back, even before the vehicle goes back to the rental company and gets driven by many, many more people. And then down the bottom here we have contact details. Anyone who has seen Melodee Buzzard, or has had contact with Ashley Buzzard since November 7, 2025, is urged to contact the Sheriff's Criminal Investigations Division, and you have the contact details there. Those wishing to remain anonymous can provide information through the tip line or online. And I will copy and paste that into the description for this video so that anyone who's watching this, if you do happen to have any information that you can share with the Sheriff's Office, then please do. Okay, I just had another look at the other release from the Sheriff's Office, and that doesn't really add anything overly significant there. So I'm going to move on to the two videos that I've gotten hold of, and then I will provide a little bit of clarification at the end.
4 signs like this one, all with "Where is Melodee" written on both sides, now line the front of the Vandenburg Village girls' home. I'm your community reporter, Crystal Bermudez, here along Mars Avenue, where community members came out Sunday afternoon, all to push for answers from the young girl's mom. We want answers! We want answers! We want. The search for Melodee Buzzard began last week after a school administrator reported the girl's extended absence from an independent studies program. Authorities say Melodee's mother has been uncooperative with the investigation.
Now I know that my regular subscribers are fairly classy people, but for anyone new to my channel here, I just want to reiterate what the Sheriff's Office was saying. I strongly recommend people do not participate in that sort of behaviour, the heckling outside of the house, because the goal here is for this child to be found, not to push the mother into some sort of nervous breakdown. And that sort of behaviour never ever achieves results. That is just going to cause the individual that is being heckled to shut down even more. And like I said, when you're dealing with someone with mental health problems, then it could make things escalate to the point where they are unable to assist authorities with their investigations, meaning that the precious information that they have becomes unavailable. And I understand completely the frustration and the anger that people feel when they hear something like this, especially when they hear that a parent is being uncooperative. But there are better ways of dealing with it. Creating flyers and going around the area and posting those flyers so that people know what this little girl looks like, so that people are aware to look out for this little girl. Or maybe someone saw something and seeing posters about this little girl might prompt them to make contact with the Sheriff's Office. There are better ways of dealing with the situation than heckling somebody outside of their house.
We're all looking for answers, but, we're showing up today so that way, she knows we care. We're here for Melodee, and hopefully she will come out and tell us where she's at.
Sheriff's deputies briefly addressing the growing crowd, saying they do not believe the child's mother has been home for the past 48 hours. Neighbors strongly disagree, telling me they've seen signs of activity.
Besides the garage being open almost 48 hours now, which we don't know if she knows or not, she was burning something in the fireplace last night, but paper was coming out.
Before anyone tries to jump to the wrong conclusions, just want to remind you that they're saying that the Sheriff's Office have been through that house. So they've had forensics in that house. So whatever was being burnt in that fire clearly looks like it was just paperwork of some sort. What that could be, we don't know. Is it connected to the case? Quite possibly. hopefully there were remnants in that firebox that the sheriffs were able to get so that they can take it to forensics and see if they can figure out what that paperwork was.
Tensions rose as families demanded immediate information.
It's about time. Like, organization is going to be key in this. Like, if they're not going to press her until she cracks, like, I'm sorry, it's time.
Within hours, a new Facebook group had dozens of members saying they will continue gathering together daily until Melodee is located.
I felt like nobody was doing anything, like actually moving. So I wanted to reach the community. I know a lot of us have daughters, and it's heartbreaking.
Deputies on Sunday said the case remains under investigation.
So I want to keep this video to being pretty much an introductory one, so I'm not going to go through that Facebook page. But it's worth checking out. It's worth joining it to show your support if you so feel the need to do. I think we certainly need to get awareness out there so that if this beautiful little girl is somewhere, that people might recognise her. Again, I'm not a fan of parading outside someone's house. I know one of the people in that interview said, we're hoping we'll get her to crack and talk. If she cracks, she's not going to talk. She's certainly not going to come out and talk to people protesting outside of her house. One of the more recent bits of news is that the FBI is now involved with this case, which means there are experts on this case who will know how to handle this woman in terms of psychology, in terms of how to interview her the best way that's likely to get results. Not every single person is the sort of person where if you apply pressure, they're going to give you answers. You will get people who, if you apply too much pressure, if you apply the wrong pressure, they are going to shut down and you will get no answers. So, yeah, I'd be leaving this to the authorities. Let them do the interviews with this woman. Let's keep her calm so that she is in a frame of mind to do interviews with authorities.
To the latest on efforts underway to find a missing girl from the Central Coast. Sheriff's detectives turning to the public for help in the search for 9-year-old Melodee Buzzard. Here's what we're learning tonight from investigators and others in the community.
Here in Vandenburg Village, concern is growing over the disappearance of a 9-year-old girl. Neighbors tell me this house behind me is where the mother lives along Mars Avenue. Authorities also tell me that the mother hasn't provided information on where her daughter may be. I'm your community reporter, Crystal Bermudez, and I spoke with family members and residents in the community who all tell me they're just hoping for the girl's safe return.
So this video predates the one I just played before it, but I wanted to play it for the family members that they talked to.
As a mother, my mom heart absolutely cannot take this. I felt really inclined to step in.
While in the neighborhood late Thursday morning, I ran into Janet Holmes. She tells me she came to the home hoping to speak with Melodee Buzzard's mother, but no one answered the door.
My hope was to make contact with the mother, maybe to be helpful.
A woman appearing to be Melodee's mother, Ashley Buzzard, returned home in the afternoon but did not speak with us before going inside and shutting the door. When I knocked, there was no answer.
I have to say, it makes my blood boil when a child is missing and you see a mother looking so totally unaffected. I mean, shouldn't she be there? Clearly she is responsible for her child being missing. Because otherwise, shouldn't she be there pleading for help to find her daughter? I mean, it is so clear what's going on here. But the question is, where is Melodee? What did her mother do? Where did she take her? And where is she now? Like I said, it's not the right approach, but I can totally understand why people are turning up at that house and demanding answers.
After bringing some bags out to her car and leaving a little later, she returned home again a short time later, still refusing to speak with me. Her car, though, had a large yellow scratch and dent on one of the doors that wasn't there when she first left. Next door, Casey Monreal says her mother thought she saw Melodee fairly recently, but home security footage told a different story.
She thought that when she first said, "Oh, I think I saw her just recently."
But after reviewing the footage, she says that wasn't the case. Casey says CPS and authorities have been at the girl's home for the past few days, with investigators collecting surveillance footage from neighbors in the area.
Thankfully, there is surveillance footage in the area, but once again, we have a 2-week delay, meaning that it's quite possible that any footage that was recorded could have been wiped, recorded over. That is the problem when you have Ring cameras and stuff. The data is going to get recorded over because obviously you're not going to keep it forever. So it depends on the age of the cameras that people have and, the size of the storage as to whether or not there's anything there.
The girl's relatives say they've been cut off from her for years. Lisbeth Mesa is Melodee's aunt on her father's side. Mesa says the girl's dad died in a crash when Melodee was just about 6 months old. Mesa says she found out about her niece's disappearance through Facebook.
We haven't seen her in over 4 years. Due to the mother not allowing the family to see her.
She describes Melodee as being sweet and kind.
She has a beautiful smile. She's very friendly, very loving, very welcoming. She loved to be around her family.
The sheriff's office says it's following every lead and needs help from the public, urging anyone with any tip, no matter how small, to come forward.
You just hope that it's not as bad as you think it might be,
Gee, I hope that this is not one of those cases that ends up going cold. I will continue to keep you updated with this case. I will do a separate video where I look at information that comes from Facebook. I will also provide a link below for Justin's live stream from this morning where he basically introduced this case, because having done it on a live stream, he's dug deeper. Just bear in mind that some of the information that he has been updated since then. I emailed a link for an article to Paula on Plunder True Crime, so if she decides to cover this, I will also post a link in my community post page for people who want to go over and follow it on her page also. I will provide the link for her channel in the description for this video anyway, so that if you did want to go over and subscribe to Paula, regardless, she is one of the best content creators on YouTube when it comes to these sorts of cases, when it comes to any sort of true crime. So I highly recommend going over and subscribing to her channel anyway. Obviously, if she doesn't get to it, it'll be more of a time factor thing, not from lack of interest. I will be back later on with another Jack and Lily video. Also, members, if you haven't spotted it, I dropped a members only video a few hours ago in relation to Jack and Lily's case. Now, I never usually think to ask people to share my videos, But in this instance, I am going to ask you to share this video, because particularly if the mother has travelled cross country with this little girl, it is quite possibly that there could be so many witnesses out there who could come forward and help with this case. If she's been taken to Nebraska for who knows what reason, maybe there are people who know where she is. So please share this video. So on that note, thanks for listening. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe. Also, please hit the like button. That gets this video out there into the algorithm, gets it seen by more people, and hopefully we'll get this case seen by more people. And of course, please leave a comment below. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next one.